Weeks ago, Imperial Hal, the biggest pro in Apex Legends, predicted that many people may be leaving Apex Legends after the World Championship in January has concluded. Well, we did get another retirement announcement, this just shortly coming after one of the best coaches has announced his retirement in the future. So is all of this a byproduct of Imperial Hal's prediction coming to fruition, or are things still looking up after the recent good news that we've had the last week? So let's break this down. It started off weeks ago. Imperial Hal had tweeted Apex had officially reached a point where even comp was unenjoyable. I swear, so many pro/creators will be leaving Apex after champs with how the game is right now. It's an actual clown show with what this game has become. Like, I understand that I'm always negative, but this game right now has so many issues to the point that it's seeping into the comp scene. Usually comp would be fine, but now it's an actual joke. Zero exaggeration. Well, it wasn't long after, and one of the greatest coaches in Apex history, Raven, had actually announced that he would be retiring after ALGS Year 5. Now, obviously, a lot of time to still go on before that happens, so will he change his mind? What may happen? Who knows? But just yesterday, Stunny, another Apex Legends professional player who's been around the scene for quite some time, had announced that he was moving on to other things also. It's important to keep in mind that even when the game was seeing brighter days, people were still retiring, as just over time, people change their minds and life changes. Now, Raven did directly say that the game was struggling so bad and that was one of his primary reasons to be doing so. Steam numbers were down and everything was looking bad. If you're a fan of the game, you obviously hope to not see these things continue to happen as things develop, but with the big World Championship in January, that's when I would imagine that many people will be making their following year decisions. Will we see that mass exit, or will people be sticking around? If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would undoubtedly say that yes, you will see a mass exit in the game, but I will give Apex some credit that over the last week we have seen pretty good news. But what's been the number result that we could pay attention to in the last 30 days and how Apex seems to be doing, considering we hit one of the worst and all-time lows in October? Well, Dexerto actually came out with an article showing some of these numbers and talking about some of the EA earnings calls. And they said that in 2024, Apex Legends player count was 18 million active monthly users, as confirmed by EA in their fiscal year 2024 quarter one earnings call that took place on August 1st, 2023. However, in their quarter one 2025 earnings call that took place on July 30th, 2024, EA Chief's Financial Officer, Stuart Cranfield, admitted that the game had seen a year-on-year decline. But the good news is that according to Cranfield, this decline improved sequentially and ended up coming back in line with their expectations. The company did not release new figures for player numbers during that call, so there's no telling for certain the exact number, though it clearly aligns with the figure above. Now, we all know what happened after this. After July, things got presumably worse. Dexerto showed that story based on this article. As they went from July, they did increase slightly in August, but it went down in September and even to the lowest of lows in October. So the first graph indicates the average player count, and the second graph indicates the peak player count. Now, these numbers are based on Steam charts, but October saw a 20% drop, so says Dexerto, in average players to 85,102. So I bring this up to revisit the question that I asked myself earlier: is there any good news, or what are the numbers that are updated that are more recent? Well, they did note here that only 2 months saw a rise, and that was August and our most recent month of November. So things are coming up slightly. Look at the Steam charts for November. We saw a all green scenario with plus 7.36% of gain. That equaled up to 6,259 of an increase of average players on October versus November. While there is a last 30 days metric that exists here, it's pretty hard to use that considering that most of those last 30 days include November's data. And it's also important to note that these are just Steam charts and do not replicate what's going on exactly in the console world, being that we don't have those charts. You know that console is the most active player base that's out there. It's important to keep that in mind when you look at Apex Legends compared to some of these other games out there. Like Apex currently at a 91,000 30-day average compared to Counter-Strike's 853,000, but Counter-Strike is all PC related game. Apex, on the other hand, has a lot more numbers to draw from in the console, but Counter-Strike probably would too if it was a console game. That game is just massive. But according to Steam charts, we're doing better than Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, the finals, but there's also other variables like the Blizzard Battle.net launcher that launches some of these games, even Call of Duty at 160,000 30-day average, but you can play on Steam, Battle.net, that, and you can even use the Xbox Game Pass. Honestly, so many variables to it at this point, it's like impossible to compare these games. But all in all, what I really wanted to know is that while the public sentiment seems to be increasing for the game in the last week due to the news that they've announced, November was our first month of gain that we've had since August. So that is good news, but I always told you guys that people had already left, not necessarily currently actively leaving. So the job that Apex has in front of them is not only to keep the game stable or make it better, keep the cheaters away like you've done this season, make the game actually balanced again, but you're also going to have to pull some big incentive to get them to come back and try the game again, because after the good news of the last week, it's not like you saw some crazy massive spike of everybody coming back to play. So let me know what you think about all the graphs and stats down in the comments below. Really hate to see Stunny, you know, move on from the game, but it is what it is. Life is life and people move on. Apex just announced a live Ask Me Anything about Lifeline tomorrow, so we'll be covering that. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned with what's going on inside the world of Apex Legends news. And until the next time, we'll see you all later.